All right, so my guest today is a local Grass Lake business owner, outdoor enthusiast, owner of Great Lakes Yurt Co, Steve Caro. Steve, how you doing?
Good. How's it going, man?
Pretty good.
Thanks for having me.
You made it. Listen to 2 episodes, now you're here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, that's great. Loving it so far, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you decided to come on. It's podcasting is an interesting medium for sure. You know, you listen to a couple episodes and you feel like kind of connected to the people you're listening to, which is a huge thing.
I listen to a lot of podcasts in my work. You know, I do a lot of work, a lot of woodwork.
Yeah.
A lot of headphone time.
Yeah.
So lots of listening, and I listen to some offbeat guys, some just funny people I found years ago, and like you said, just kind of fell in love with their personalities and been listening to them for years. And it fills my days, that's for sure. Learn something once in a while.
Yeah, it's always fun to. Sometimes it feels like there's so much out there. So I'm always doing podcasts or audiobooks. I find myself doing even more like YouTube now, but the longer form things that you don't have to worry about looking at seem to work the best for dishes and different tasks you're doing. You know,
sure.
Just kind of get lost in it. But I've also noticed that I have to use that to kind of steer my mind, because if I listen to the comedy podcasts all the time, I don't really want to get down on my business or think about certain things. So sometimes I'm like, no, force yourself to listen to this business book for a little bit.
I switch it up too. I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks lately. Different stuff all over the board.
Yeah.
But I got to keep my mind occupied and keep going. I mean, I grew up in the restaurant business, listening to classic rock and roll all day long and music for years and years. And then podcasts came around, and it's like, oh, this can actually fill your days. It can really shorten your days if you're something you're interested in. We're doing a monotonous task, all day long, same thing.
Makes the time fly by pretty quick. And it's nice to not only have the local talk show radio stations like you used to. It was like when I was younger doing landscaping, it was all like Drew and Mike in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
Every morning. And
Dave and Chuck the Freak.
Right, yeah. Now it's just endless opportunities for all different kinds of voices to pop in your head and get you through your day.
Yeah, too many a lot of times. You can spend, same thing as Netflix, sitting around at Netflix looking at that. You spend an hour trying to find something you want to find. I can't tell you how many times I actually give something a try. I listen to some guys. I want to fall in love with their podcast, but I listen to one or two and I just can't do it. They fall by the wayside. There's so many of them out there now, it's hard to keep track.
Some are kind of like The Office. You got to get into quite a few episodes before you actually like it.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure most of them are that way, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, binge watching shows is another thing that I was doing podcasts and audiobooks for a long time. Then they started making it so easy with shows like Netflix and stuff that, I don't know, it's just so easy to fall into a show now in your shop or your garage, wherever you're working. You got it up, and when it feels like you need to see something, you stop and you watch it.
Age of technology, man.
Well, always plugged in, man.
For sure.
But so for people that don't know about your business, I know I've done a showcase video on you, like a documentary style video. So I've asked a lot of these questions, but can we kind of, obviously it's a yurt company, you build yurts. Can you kind of give people how you got into that? I think you were a carpenter at first.
Yeah, just a builder, I was like I said, I was in the restaurant business for a long time, trying my head at that, opened up my own restaurant years ago over in the Kalamazoo area and failed at that pretty quickly. And my father-in-law, my brother-in-law into building, they kind of got me into the trade. Worked for them for a while, and then it just came up to a yurt build. I knew what a yurt was from camping and being, all around and in campgrounds and in the outdoors. So it came up that somebody wanted one built, and we looked at buying a kit, and we found out real quick that all the major manufacturers are in the Pacific Northwest. They're basically, they're all in that area. They're a long ways away from here.
Right.
In this part of the country, there's a few, but they were on the far back pages of Google, and they just didn't seem to be competitors. So we thought that's when we saw the opportunity, right? So the first call was he needed a yurt built. Right. We looked at buying a kit. They were expensive, and there wasn't anything anywhere nearby. So at that point, it was like, oh man, that's probably, we should maybe look at starting a yurt company if
Right.
this little project doesn't work out, even though his little project was just kind of it was a documentary. I'm sure we talked about that, but it was a little documentary, but it worked out. We built a little yurt from some scrappy plan that he had came up with, and it worked out, and it was cool. And somebody else wanted one, and so we decided it was a good idea to start a little company, and started selling yurts right away. And we're in our 8th year of business now. We've got hundreds of yurts, they're coming up on 300 yurts, I think, all over the country, from California to Texas to Maine to Florida, up in Canada. We've done a lot for the tribes up in Canada.
Okay.
For all types of reasons, the Airbnb business is big.
Right.
The campground business is huge. That's probably a big part of our business. Nowadays with the housing crisis in the last year or two, there's more people living in yurts than I ever imagined. It was always kind of a thing, but it was always like a small part of the business. But the last couple of years with the availability of homes, the price of real estate, even rental, that people are, and maybe a lot of the other state of the world, people are looking at getting off on some property and homesteading. I mean, yeah, we've seen it all. So.
People getting creative with their living situations. So they have family that owns a little piece of property. They're like, oh, can I have 5 acres of that to put a little something on? And from tiny homes or schoolies to yurts. It makes a lot of sense that people would be getting creative, because, I feel a lot for younger generation, looking at the price I got for my house and seeing like even what is valued now, or what houses like mine are,
I can't imagine being like
it's horrible
in your early 20s and looking at real estate right now, and looking at wages and what you can make on a honest, hard working, educated living. It's tough out there for sure.
There's also, there's a lot of opportunities, but it's also very discouraging. Like when you see the price, it's like I can see why people would just be like, how can I be inspired right now? Like, because I'm sure you felt this when you're a carpenter and then you're at a restaurant. Eventually your thing come up and you realize that you were in a field that had high demand, and it kind of rolled from there, but you were always moving. Eventually you found the thing. I think now it's like uninspiring for a lot of people to even start and keep the grind going and the moving.
Sure.
To stumble into something.
I do think the inspiring part could be, though, like looking at that exactly like what you said, like, or building would be a very inspiring part of, be learning how to do it yourself, no matter what it is, right? Because that can save you all the money,
right,
and make all the difference if you can afford a little piece of land and you can slowly build your own house by yourself. Then you're building real value and just skill. Really, that's what got me from going from just like a part-time builder. I guess I was a builder, but I didn't really, I was doing remodels, helping other people, and then building my own house about 10 years ago is kind of what really sprung me into full-time building. Like I said, my father-in-law and brother-in-law are builders, so they were a lot of help and guiding the whole thing and get me there. But after the process, it had brought me a long way as far as just my skills and my knowledge of the whole trade. And shortly after that, I went into full-time building, and then for myself, and then fell into the yurt thing. There was a little luck involved with the yurt thing, and went with it, and
I think I did a similar thing with what I did. Just kind of the path kind of reveals itself as you get rolling. But it's amazing that with you, like, it seems like the perfect thing, because you've kind of even fell into a community of people that are like similarly wired to you. Like I've heard you talk about the events you go to, or how much fun you have camping on somebody's property while you're putting up their yurts.
The people are the greatest. The like you said, it's the community. And it's all different types, right? Even from the homesteader, off the grid people, to the campgrounds, which I grew up camping and going to campgrounds, and so that's an exciting part of the business too.
Right.
And it's all fun. It's all just part of the good times. For the most part, you're selling dreams to people. So it has been great, and it's led us all over the country, all kinds of adventures. We know people all over the place that have cool yurts, and you can always visit. And and it's also led us to just visit places we never would have seen.
Yeah, I know you take your family with you too. Like, so you pretty much make all the parts at your house, at your shop, and then you load them up in your trailer and with your family, and you go out and you spend a week or a couple of days or whatever at a location just putting the yurts up, right?
Well, that's how we started actually in the early days. Now we actually have a shop. We have our own shop in Jackson now.
Oh, really?
We just finished up just recently, and we're in there 100% now. And we're basically shipping kits out now. We're making kits. We're creating them up, shipping them all over the country. We're not doing any setups. We're just too busy to
that's great.
do that. And our customers are all over. We're just selling way too many to try to travel around and do setups. So we've got it down to a kit with an install manual. And
oh, nice.
Yeah.
I know we haven't talked too much in the last year or two, but that's great, man. So are you finding that there's a lot of, just out of curiosity, like other companies popping up in certain areas that are utilizing your kits, but they're becoming like the install team and selling them in that area? Like, are you seeing like a recurring buyers that are contractors, or is it mainly just do-it-yourselfers that are just, this looks simple enough, let's order it?
Yeah, there's a couple teams out there that do setups.
Yeah.
But that's pretty rare.
Yeah.
And I know some teams across country that, and basically they've just learned, as somebody, they either ordered a yurt and did the build out and then learned and wanted to do more of them and contacted me and said, hey, I'm interested in any other jobs, you have in this area, or they were hired by somebody to do it and they took a liking to it, and it's pretty, once you get it down, it's really not that bad, the biggest part for us why we don't do it, it's just the travel and then the trying to keep up with production and then the teams of, traveling teams all over the place. It's a lot.
Well, it's good to hear that it's like scaled and even scaled into like a more simple model for you, I'm sure. You know what I mean? Yeah,
and it's a growing process, right? In the early days, it was exciting to travel and go across the country and meet these people, and everywhere you're going, it's a cool, there's usually beautiful pieces of property with great people. And it's also learning the product, right? We're setting it up. We're dealing with all the minute little details and learning how to adjust and make the product so you can ship it out. Right. And then after a while, the travel was fun and all, but after a while it got old. Like, I've got several kids and a wife, and it's a whole,
Right.
And then, and then the busier you get also, then you have the shop. People at the shop that are working, keep managing that program. So,
yeah. So you still pick out a couple like little festivals and things to go to with the family that you enjoy? And
yeah, we do a couple Michigan music festivals. Okay. We've talked about doing some of the campground shows and that sort of thing. Not something that we've gotten into yet. It's kind of a lot because really you want to bring, the full product there.
Right.
The thing about a yurt is bringing the full product it's a lot.
Right.
It's a lot of work, and to make it so it's transportable so you can set it up and show people and be proud of it. Like, this is our finished product, and be able to break that down and move it to another place. It's just a lot of work. Yeah. And we haven't gotten into it yet. We've been busy enough, but maybe one day. Yeah. Maybe not. I don't know.
Do those ship on a pallet, or do they fit like?
We crate them up.
Okay.
Yep. So they're in big crates, Yeah. Put them on flatbed trucks. Fork them on flatbed trucks, and.
Got to come see your new spot. Last time I came to visit you, you were in your garage, and
come check out our new shop. We just finished it. It's beautiful. We got
How long you guys been there now?
Been there for about a year, maybe a little over a year. Okay. But we're just finishing up like the interior.
Okay.
The exterior will be done soon. But we've done a lot. Yeah, you should stop by.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right down the road from Menards. I know you make it.
I think I know where that is. Is that big, huge warehouse has a bunch of businesses in it? That's like in that little industrial area back there?
That's where we used to be. So I was renting some shop space there for a while. But no, we're right on Page Ave, just right down the road.
Oh, nice.
It used to be it was a old building. Used to be
I think I know. Is it by Burger King?
No.
There's a big building right there.
I know that one. I looked at that building, actually. No, it's down.
So did you guys actually buy it, your business? Or are you renting it, leasing it?
Yep. No, we bought the building.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, bought it, got a really good deal on it. It was, it's been a lot of work. We've been working on it for a year and a half now.
Yeah.
And it's enough to get us fully functional out of it.
Yeah.
We'd like to expand. The city owns the lot next door. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a funky little dead-end alley that it's on, so I'm trying to buy the lot from the city, which they are willing to sell, but I also want to buy the road. And then it gets tricky with a lot of the storm drain issues and zoning. So I've got a lot of meetings to go through there, but hopefully we'll expand there. We'll see what happens.
So when somebody orders the kits online, are they able to like order windows in certain spots too and things, or is it just kind of the kits? Oh, they are. They can.
Yeah, they come. They all come with insulated glass windows, residential grade.
Right.
And you can put them wherever you want. You can add as many as you want.
Oh, so they can actually choose like where they want the windows in that in the circle.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's
Doors,
cool, man.
Windows. Yeah.
That's cool stuff. What's the maybe with building? I'm sure you've seen people do amazing things with these yurts. What's like one of the most impressive yurts that you've walked in? Like maybe one that you put up and went back a couple years later to see it or saw photos of it?
Mostly it's photos, right? It's the Instagram or social media photos that we see, because I don't see most of these sites. I don't see 99% of the sites I don't see. So it's usually photos that we get to see afterwards. I mean, I do visit some of them from time to time. I just saw one recently, though. I think it was an Instagram or a Facebook thing. Actually, it was on a forum. It was just a public forum. They didn't kind of message me, but I can tell my yurt when I see my yurt. And it was somebody that they did 2 big yurts and connected them together. And they just did a really beautiful job, full bathrooms and kitchen and just all the little details.
Do they have like a little connector kind of like
they built like a little cabin in between, like a little mud room in between. So the entryway was in the stick-built mud room, and then it goes out to each of the yurts. But it was big. It looked sprawling. It was really opened it up.
Those circle spaces are hard to design floor plans for, but also like really interesting and fun. My buddy had he had a silo, and I dorked out on my grid paper trying to come up with like cool designs for it, But it's interesting. It's completely different than anything else, which is kind of.
It's definitely tricky.
Makes it fun.
Yeah.
It seems like I've seen some people. It looks like they, if you don't really put a lot of thought into it, you can have a lot of wasted space, or it just kind of looks odd in there, But when you see people do it right, and
yeah, definitely, and a lot of our yurts, they go all over the board. A lot of people don't really break them up that much. Some people do put like I said, the full bathrooms and kitchens and bedrooms. You see it all.
Yeah. So I actually got to go up to. You have your own yurt camp too. What's the name? That's
the Great Lakes Yurt Camp.
Great Lakes Yurt Camp up in the UP by what's that river up there?
Sheldrake. It's right. It's on the Sheldrake River.
Okay, yeah.
But it's right by the Tequamanon River and the Tequamanon Falls.
Do you guys get up there a lot now that you're not traveling so much for building the yurts, you and the family?
Yeah, definitely. We spend a lot of time up there. Yep. Actually, we just got another piece of property just nearby with some cabins on it that we're going to do the same thing. We're going to renovate the cabins and get those into rentals, and then maybe put some yurts or some more cabins up on that for short-term Airbnb rentals.
That place near the falls, or the first place we were talking about, what was the name of that? Oh, Great Lakes Yurt Camp. That is a beautiful property. Me and the kids had a great time there. We went, and we were the only ones there.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, you hooked us up and gave us a spot there, and we were just playing on the river and moseying around on the trails, exploring, and it was a great time.
We got lucky with that one. We bought that, 2019. Yeah. Before things got crazy up there, prices went up, especially COVID era, everything went up and became a lot harder to find.
Yeah.
So it's 10 acres on the river, and it's the way it set up. So it was the way it sets up with that little peninsula. You just kind of feel like it feels really secluded. I mean, it really is. You're back there by yourself, but it just feels like a place you can let the kids run off, and they're not run off into the woods, and they're not going to get lost because the river kind of wraps around it all and borders them. And that's worked out really fun. And that that was one thing that we got led to from the yurts, selling the yurts, delivering the yurts, and setting them up. A lot of them were people doing just that, setting them up and doing little Airbnb camps.
You're like, we can do this cheaper. We're the ones that build the yurts.
Yeah, and it was just something we always, we always went to the UP camping, and we always, we're always looking for something up there, and then putting the yurts on them, and then, a little business out of it made a lot more sense, right? Now it's even more motivating, and it pays for itself, and the way we have it set up, so it's a rustic type. You've been there. It's rustic. There's no on-site management. It's all run through Airbnb, and the type of people that we cater to the people that are willing to go, off grid. It's a few miles back there too. They're willing to go back there and stay off grid, are the type of people that you don't need on-site management for. They take care of it like it's their own place. And
also, you haven't really found that you need somebody to come and clean up after.
I mean, we know we have somebody stop by there occasionally to check on things and clean up, and we're usually up there enough. But no, for the most part, the setup, it works really well to take care of itself.
Yeah, I mean, some like you said, if you're catering to certain people, all you need is that little note that says, "We appreciate you cleaning up after yourself. Like, here's the tools or the broom or whatever."
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just like when your uncle would let you use their camper up north or something. Like it was always a rule in our family that if you borrow something, you return it in better shape than when you got it.
Absolutely.
So if you borrow someone's truck or something, you make sure you clean it really good, drop it off.
Mm-hmm.
And then next time they're going to loan you, they won't hesitate to loan you something else.
It's basic common respect.
Yeah.
Well, no, and that's what people do. They take care of it. I mean, something funny once in a while, but nothing.
Yeah.
That's never been a concern. So
I have to tell you, when we went, kind of scared. So I drove my Prius back there, and you're like, how many miles are you off the main road back there? Like 4. Oh man, it was like an overlanding trip, and some of those, because I remember I called you and I was like, this looks like it's kind of off. You're like, my wife does it with her minivan. You should be fine. That Prius, I was bottoming out because those little 2 tracks. Yeah. It's very low clearance on the Prius.
Yeah.
I might have lost a little bit of plastic under the underside of the Prius on that.
Yeah.
But the kids were like, "What are we doing?" I was like, "Oh, we gotta get up speed before we hit this one." And they made it through though.
The kids probably still remember that trip.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We had some good time. We actually shot this like funny little. I just got that camera and I shot a little video for you when I was up there. But the kids wanted to mess around and we shot this like funny horror movie kind of vibe video where like Beck's running from someone or Evan's running from someone. They're just running through the woods, and then it ends up they just tag him, say you're it, but it looks like it's like a horror film.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I still got it. I have it all. I edited it once, and then something happened, and I lost the project, and I need to go back and one day when I'm feeling it and do another edit. But it was a pretty funny little scary movie.
I love it.
But yeah, we're definitely planning on going back up there. It's just it's always nice when you find these spots. So like like I found a spot in Colorado. I know if I land in Denver, I know I can get to that spot from the airport, car side camp, and there's always a spot available. It's like when you go visit a spot, it's like you put it in your back pocket. Like, now I have that. That's mine. Especially when it comes to national forest and state land,
Yeah.
But that's definitely one of those spots. It's like, if we go up in that area, we know it's a great spot to be. And I also like that you don't want to just run to the store and run here because you're back in there. So it's like, no, we're staying back here.
Once you get back there, you want to stay there.
Yeah, which is good.
No, and you're always welcome, man. Stop by anytime. And we, like I said before, we had that. We would go camping on Lake Superior every year. Try to go spend a week with usually with another family. And one of my favorite little campgrounds up east of Grand Marais. It's just a little rustic Michigan, state campground. There's only like 17 or 18 sites, and they're all first come, first serve.
Right.
And we were going there, every year. I think we'd show up Sunday afternoon. There'd be a few sites left, and as the years went, it got busier and busier, and there wasn't any sites left. And we saw it coming. That one year, we were like, I know we're gonna have to go. Well, this is gonna dry up. One year, we're gonna have to come wait in line.
Yeah.
So we went. That's when we started just going boondocking and in the national forest land, basically the same spot, just without the rustic anemones,
without the water tap. Somewhere on the property, and Which COVID definitely made a huge increase in the amount of people that were camping, and unsurprisingly, it got their hooks in those people. It hasn't really slowed down. It seems like not too much, It's just a great way to spend time.
No, that's good, right? I love more people being out there, but it just also, there's another side of it. You see all these people going to all these spots. This used to be a private little backwoods spot, and if you saw somebody there, you're happy to see them. Now when you go there, there's the parking lot there. Yeah,
I thought about like sharing more on my trip, like the details. Like, oh, here's where we camped. But I'm like, nah, probably don't want to do that. Because I know I always search it, and it seems like people do keep that close to their chest because there's so many little niche car side camping spots or like what you're saying, like kind of in the back, but not really too far off the main roads that are set up good with flat areas.
Mm-hmm. No, like fishing spots nowadays,
Yeah.
Fishing and hunting spots. You don't tell anybody your fishing spot.
Yep.
Don't tell anybody your camping spots either,
Yep.
even if they are in public campgrounds.
Yeah. I like the West Coast. I live had a little bit of property out in the West Coast. I have family in Gladwin, which is nice. There are a lot of acres up there, and but that's similarly a 2.5 hour drive to get to the West Coast. And I love like Little Manistee, Big Manistee.
Mm-hmm.
We've done Pine River canoeing or kayaking quite a few times.
Mm-hmm.
Like that area right there is beautiful. The fish and everything.
Yeah, it's great up there. It's gotten busy up there though,
Yeah.
compared to what it used to be, but I guess that's always been the case.
Yeah. 10 more years, I think it'll be really hard to find property. It's like you get these areas and eventually, if you look at like property even just across 94 here,
Right.
people don't get off that property.
No.
There's rarely something for sale over there by that state land. That's just how it works. So you get these areas and they might not be so popular like what you got up in the UP. You can grab it up for a decent price and then eventually people get it and they don't let go of the property.
Yeah.
West Coast especially. So many people vacation out there for that it's just
Well, there's nothing like that shore, Lake Michigan.
yeah.
Yeah, but there still is. You just got to stay on it. You might not be right on the coast, but there's a lot of those towns right inland. Inland just a little bit. They're beautiful little small towns.
Yeah.
And there's some stuff. You just like anything else, you got to be on the market and know what you're looking at and when it comes up.
I've got my areas but the little areas marked off for where I get notifications for when something goes on the market. I feel like I'm always watching, even though I'm 5 years out from maybe buying some property or whatever. I'm still like, always putting it out there, keeping your finger on the pulse, seeing where you're at.
You have to be just to know the market. I said 5 years before we bought property in the Upper Peninsula, I was driving up there looking at properties, and we weren't necessarily in the market. Couldn't necessarily we'll figure it out if we find the right one, but it was it's definitely like keeping your thumb on the pulse of the market and just knowing the values. And then when one does show up, I still check the real estate market pretty much every morning. I'm on seeing what hit the market that day, seeing what it looks like, and when you watch it every day and you're looking at the stuff that interests you, when a hot deal hits, and you move fast, you can get them.
Zillow's what I was thinking about.
Zillow, yeah.
But it's like that when you shop for anything, right? It feels like I'm on Marketplace. I know I'm in a market for this. I'm looking at the prices, and it's like I don't really buy until I know I'm getting a good deal, and you don't know if it's a good deal until you've shopped for it for long enough.
Right.
You don't just go on there one day and see the first one and be like, "This is it."
Yeah, well, sometimes I do, but usually I don't.
Yeah, if you're in a hurry, yes, yeah. But if you're doing a big purchase like property or house or something, it's you got to put in it's wise to put in that time over a couple months. That way, when you come across a deal, it's a good deal, and you have that confidence.
I tell you, that property I bought for the yurt company, right? Our facility we're in now, I found that I was searching for years, and I found that on Craigslist actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Private seller, Craigslist.
Dead old dog of Craigslist. It was on there. It was just a funny situation. The building was full of stuff. It was a resale shop. The people that owned it. Long story there with the owners of it, but it was full of stuff. They were buying storage units, taking any of the valuables out, selling it, and then putting the rest of the stuff in this building. And it's 5,000 square feet of. You could barely walk through it. So, and
there's no treasures in there because they've all been picked out.
Yeah, they've all been picked out, and then it's also whoever was living there. It's not in the best neighborhood, so I'm sure it was picked through by who knows what. Yeah, there was 13 dumpsters full of stuff and no treasures.
Wow.
Couple nice kitchen knives. That's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that was just knowing it, I almost didn't even go look at it because it's Craigslist, and I didn't even
Yeah, it was also, I mean, a lot of times, the person who's handy or knows how to get work done can sometimes get that good deal. It's like when I was younger, I bought a couple like stick shift cars because they were just cheaper. And I was like, well, I don't mind driving a stick, so I get a better deal. Well, I thought it was a better deal. I'm getting the same car, just not an automatic,
Absolutely.
But, if you buy a house or you find a house and it's discounted because somebody else doesn't want to deal with the renovations that are needed or deal with the garbage, and you're not afraid of good work, you're going to save a lot on, you're going to get a good deal in the long run.
I mean, most of the time, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I look at the two big ones are like a house or, some sort of, major trade and auto mechanics. Like if you can do one of those two things and still do your skill or whatever it is, right? Whatever you're into, at least do some of one of those because you're going to pay a lot of money for both of those things.
Yeah.
If you can do them both, you got super skills.
I heard, I started a book that Marlon was telling me about, and just because I want to be able to drop the name of it, I'm going to look at it real quick because I just listened to it earlier. But it's like by a rabbi. It's called Business Secrets from the Bible. She really liked this book, so I'm reading it. And he was speaking about, he's like a Jewish rabbi, and he was speaking about this is why you won't see like a Jewish person working on their own car or cutting their own lawn because they had that. He was talking about the principle of like letting people do what they're good at and stepping them back and letting them just do it, and also how that creates like money passes through you and outward and then helps them, different stuff. Like, because I've always lived kind of the same way. It's like, oh, that's too much money, but now I'm trying to get to the point where it's like, is it what I should be focused on? Because if I focus that time on my skills, I could be helping businesses make a lot more money than that, or helping, or doing a lot more service, delivering more value to the world if I'm not the one cutting my grass,
Yeah, well, and that's also like getting the point to where your time is more valuable than that skill. Like I used to change my own brakes and change my own oil and do a lot of that, but then it got to the time it's like I don't want to do that. I hate doing that stuff.
Right.
I'm not doing it, and my time's more valuable. Like hiring it, like my tax accountant, my tax attorney is somebody who's worth every penny that I pay him. I wouldn't want to do that, and it's worth every penny.
Is he in Jackson or Grass Lake?
Yeah, I use Dwayne Stoker in Grass Lake.
Yep. I heard somebody said, I should talk. I met him a couple times. But we're in the market because Marlo's got the Ann Arbor Music Academy, and I've got my business, and
Dwayne's great.
And we got married last year, so it's kind of, or 2 years ago, but it's just getting more complicated now to do taxes.
Yep.
So we got to figure that out.
Yep, that's where it got to the point with me. I learned my lesson when I started my first business.
Yeah.
I was still doing the TurboTax and.
Yeah, that's what I do, which isn't too complicated for my business. And I'm pretty organized with mine, but now I'm like, she's doing hers herself, but that also means we're probably leaving some things on the table.
Yeah.
But I did ask him before about like renting my house and my business based off that Augustine rule, which allows you to rent your house up to 12 times without taxes on it. So, but I've seen him. He's a member of the Grass Lake Chamber.
He's great.
I've seen him at some events and
He's
stuff.
Great. He's super cool too.
I feel bad just asking him questions, not being a client, but sneak one in every once in a while.
Well, he's a good guy, but he'd take, he'd be cool about it. Yeah, no, I learned when I opened the first restaurant, I I did my taxes that year, and then I hired an accountant, and he kept bothering me. He's like, let me take a look at last year's taxes, and make sure you didn't leave anything on the table. And he showed up one day with a big check. He's like, you left a lot on the table last year.
Really?
Like,
that's awesome.
And then ever since then, I was just like, okay. And it's for what you pay them. Yeah. It's worth it. They're worth every penny.
Yeah. I know a lot of them too. My cousin, my whole family uses this one people out in Southgate, one company. This guy who has a bunch of employees, and they help them with they'll give them access to the retirement accounts and everything, and have them doing everything for them.
Yeah.
So definitely a huge value for that. That's something.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I need to get out of doing myself, for sure.
Yeah.
Especially with businesses and stuff. So that sounds like that was you've probably been with him for a while though, since the beginning of Great Lakes Yurt Company.
I haven't actually, just a couple of years. So like I said, I was from Kalamazoo originally. My original guy that brought all that money to the table. I was with him. I was in the Kalamazoo area. Moved over here in 2008 and stuck with my guy in the Kalamazoo area until he retired pretty much. But I've been with Dwayne for 2 or 3 years now. Okay. He's busy. I know he's.
So that sounds like that was a pretty big moment for you, like with your. I mean, it's a journey. Is there something that happened recently that like, because part of this I kind of want to speak to like new business owners or people that are inspiring, and I mean, there's so much to be gained from people who already went pretty far down the path of running a business, starting a business. What's something recently that maybe you learned that were kind of like epiphany for you, like, I
don't know. Recently, my biggest headaches has been dealing with engineers and getting permits for either whether it be permanent dwellings, which are popular, or we also are doing like a lot of forest schools, a lot of Waldorf schools. So just dealing with engineers in local municipalities.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
No, that's fair. You sell the kits, so is that like them saying like, can you help us navigate this kind of thing?
Yeah. Well, and we're designing it, and each, a lot of it is helping them navigate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then a lot of it's just making sure, just making sure it all goes, the engineers aren't always the easiest to work with, to make sure they don't try to redesign the whole thing on you. And, there's just a lot of moving parts with it.
I've noticed like with, because I'm on a local DDA and stuff, and it gets hard to navigate. And they've always had a lawyer on retainer because, and there's only 2 acts that govern like a DDA, or there's only a certain amount of documents that you have to worry about when you're building or something. But to be the one that's going to go through it and be an expert in it, and then say, like a lawyer would, and then be like, this is what you can or can't do, or this is how, like, it's hard. It's a resource a lot of people don't have. But I'm sure you heard me talking about this in that first podcast with my cousin, when we dork out about AI all the time, but it's been huge for me to be able to upload 2 PDFs or however many PDFs I need to figure something out and just ask it, and get advice that's a lot of times probably better more thorough than a lawyer, and I know, like, okay,
you can reread it 10 times and make sure you understand it.
Yeah. That's been a huge thing, like, because it's always been hard to move around with local municipalities, and they make the rules, and I understand the rules have to be there, and they were voted on, decided by elected members of the community, so they should be abided by. But at the same time, it's like, but who has the time to
Sure.
or who's gonna it's almost like they have to themselves give you somebody that's gonna help you explain it, not just turn you down and send you out on your own to figure it out.
Yeah, and it's tough, especially like with the yurt thing. It's a big gray area. A lot of people don't even know what a yurt is.
Right.
So then there's dealing with that. I see it it's pretty simple when you break it down because it all comes down to building energy codes, electrical code. It all comes down to codes, state codes. There are ways to navigate it. It's just something that some people in certain municipalities all across the nation that we deal with. So, we don't get super involved, but, but we try to make sure it happens and try to make it painless for everybody.
Also, you had more, because you help people through that, you probably have a good amount of advice to share with them. Like we had somebody who ran into the same issue. What you have to do is
we've got the good basic core lines down, so, and that works a lot of times, but it's also... It's just never as easy. There's always, when you're dealing with, we add more people to the chain of command. And I'm not all for it. There's fine lines with regulation, right? You've got to have regulation. I don't love lots of regulation, but regulation's necessary.
Yeah. I know, at least it's not an aluminum mobile home. Because you notice how many aluminum mobile homes just won't fall and they're grandfathered in to, like, you have an aluminum mobile home in the middle of a city because it's just like, well, they can't add to it, and technically they can use it as long as it's freestanding, but it's made out of aluminum, so it just lasts forever.
Yeah, and I can just see, like the looks of them and why you may or may not want it. Like, look at Grass Lake, what we've seen there with all those old buildings and the old architectural salvage buildings.
Yeah,
and all those. A lot of people in town weren't the happiest that they were all full of architectural salvage stuff and
not being used.
Not being used, and there was no opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Which, part of me is like, well, those are his buildings. He bought them. He can do what he wants. But at the same time, you are holding the community back. Like, downtown Grass Lake.
Well, it probably was a huge help at one point, buying it, making it taxable. I mean,
maybe.
I'm not that's what I've heard other people say. And then over time, you're like, we got more people now. It's like,
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. Yeah.
I've heard that they're trying to sell them all as one lot, all together.
I've heard a lot of rumors, but I don't know any. I don't know anything.
There's a lot going on in this town. I've been here for almost 14 years now, and I know you've been around for a while. And, I mean, I always kind of felt like it's because me. I'm always just looking at it like the location completely in the center of the state. I love that I can get to the West Coast. I can get up north. Hop on 127, shoot up north quick. Much rather be traveling 127 north than 275.
Absolutely.
Get down to Ohio. I can go to Toledo for a date with Marlo, Lansing, Ann Arbor, Kalamazoo. I mean, I've always just known there's potential here, but lately, just crazy. I actually seen you at Prate's Place the other day. What do you think of that?
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, that's exactly what the town needs. Something like that. And they did a great job.
Yeah. How they did with the remodel there is just unbelievable.
It's beautiful.
I mean, it's still a small space, but it just seems so much bigger with the ceilings up. And me and Marla tried to go there for a drink on Friday, and we stopped in there, and it was like a half hour wait. So like, oh yeah, let's go. We had somebody that was over at the parlor, so we went over to the parlor. We came back 2 hours later, and it was an hour wait. I was like, well, it's good to see they're busy,
Absolutely. There's room for more in Grass Lake. Yeah. So that's great to see they kind of started a new wave of doing what people want.
Yeah. So we got, so there was, I've always thought like restaurants. So I'm working with Prate's Place, on their marketing and website and all that stuff. And then,
you're doing their videos?
Yeah, I've done the video. Yep.
Yeah,
all those goofy videos.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah. Matt will call me, and usually like the day before or day of, and be like, cut this out to, I will roughly flush something out, and then go and just shoot, go for it, But it's been fun.
They've been great. They turned out great. Yeah.
And it's achieved what the goal was. I mean, they're fun people. They just want to have a good time and bring people together, and having those videos out, I think, are pretty cool. But there'll be more of those for sure. But other than that, their website, their email marketing, and all that stuff. And I think I'm working with Asher Creek now. And unlike if we're working with a local lawn care company, I wouldn't want to like compete against myself and be like, But it's a different thing with restaurants. Like the restaurants create a certain amount of synergy. If somebody comes into Grass Lake and says, "Let's go grab a meal at Prate's Place," or Asher Creek or whatever, they're liable to stop at Asher Creek for an ice cream after Prate's Place. Oh, you want to stop at Sod's VI, or Misty's place on the way out, grab another drink, And so it's like the restaurants, I think, having a successful one just helps all the other ones.
No doubt about it. If like you said, there's a wait at one place, you would just walk across the street to the other. Yeah. And Asher Creek, that place is beautiful too. They've done a great job there. They're killing it.
Yeah, Mike and Heather, they're a great team too.
Yeah, and that's just like you said, those two together, they're that's exactly what you need. They're starting something.
I like that was Asher Creek and Prate's Place are just two really active families in the community that decided to, and this because you had a restaurant. That's not an easy feat. That's not an easy business to do. The margins, everything. You don't do it because you want to make tons of money. You do it because you care about community, or you care about creating a space for your community. That's why I get so angry. A little bit ruffled up when I see people giving these people a hard time online. Like, where's the menu? We'll be waiting so long. Or are they even working over there? It's like people that aren't doing nothing, just complaining about people that are doing something that's hugely valuable. Even just converting a property in the village to make it look so much nicer. Even if they fail right away, that was a massive benefit to you as a local resident.
Right. Right. Both those properties are beautiful. What they've done with them, and you're always gonna have that, especially nowadays with these keyboard, keyboard ninjas or whatever they call them.
So for these forums, it's different when it's on the forums. One thing when you see it on, Twitter or Instagram, you see people are, people just trying to be funny and everything they comment, and then some people are just being nasty. That's one thing, but when you see it like in your community, and it's like somebody because it's like you're not really disconnected enough. Like you're able to see these people. Do you want to be the asshole? Like notice.
Those forums are brutal, man.
Yeah,
those forums.
They're almost worse than what you'll see on like comments for like National Post or somebody who's famous. They're almost nastier.
Yeah, I don't think they're a good representation of the community.
Yeah.
Not.
Absolutely not. Yeah,
and
they're the most. They tend to never miss a beat when it comes to commenting. Like. Whereas like nice people might just leave a like.
Sure.
They're getting nasty every time.
Yeah, I don't get it, but I see it.
Yeah,
I get a laugh out of it though sometimes.
Yeah. I like to just do little subtle pokes, but not really I don't want to get in arguments with them. But I like to do little subtle pokes to them.
I try to stay away from it.
Yeah,
I'm not 100%.
But I've also noticed too with videos and stuff I've done locally is that those forums are a huge asset though. Like when you're promoting it, I keep telling a lot of people who do, like my buddy had a trash management company. I'm like, make a page for your business and start posting on the local forums. And you'd be surprised how much work you can stir up for a local service-based business.
All the work. Look at the trash guys that have done it in town here, right?
Tactical.
I mean, they've come a long way. There's a couple different trash companies that I've seen come up in the last year or two. A lot of it was, another local company really dropped the ball with a lot of their service.
Yeah.
But it gave opportunities, and they promoted on the local stuff, and they're there. Yeah, I mean, your video that you did for me, I can't tell you how many people that still are like, I saw your videos on YouTube, and you're the only one that's ever done any videos. I know they're talking about your video because you're the only one.
That's great to hear, man.
No, yeah, I hear that all the time. Yeah,
I always say like the first best thing is face to face. Somebody meets up with you, and they can ask you all the questions they want. They probably did their research, so when they're sniffing you out and they're like, oh, this guy's not full of shit. He knows his stuff, Like, that's a huge sell. Second best thing, I think, is always video. It's just like, because you're still getting in front of them. They're still getting a sense of who you are. They're seeing your face, seeing your expressions, like seeing your passion, seeing plus seeing your work in slow motion, Just like those little things, just, now they feel like they know you and they're going to go to your competitor's website if you have one and just read their copy.
Right.
After seeing your face and hearing you talk passionately about your work,
Yeah, especially being local, you get somebody from Michigan that calls. They want to keep it in Michigan.
Yeah.
They don't know, but then they can put a name and you got a few minutes of watching them and hearing the story. It makes a huge difference.
The local thing definitely is a sell for me too. Like I remember when I was getting into backpacking a while ago, and I knew I wanted to splurge on like a top quote, and there's two companies I was down to. It was like UGQ and then Light and Equipment to get a lightweight, like top down quote.
Okay.
And when I found out UGQ was in Jackson, I was like, instantaneously, I was like, oh, I know exactly, because it was kind of like 50-50. And I was like, oh, in Jackson? Well, that's what I'm going with.
You did a video we did a spotlight on them too, right?
Yeah, well, that's why, now Chad owns it, not Paul. And that's how I was going to the HankCon last weekend.
Oh, okay.
So I went with him last year. My boy had a great time. He met friends there. He said, can we go back next year? 4 days of him just running nonstop at the park with his friends, and then they're running around the campground with flashlights and headlamps. And, I barely even see them, but I love it.
Well, that's cool. But, do you know if is it a successble conference? Is there sales?
There's tons of people shopping. Okay. There's booths set up, and maybe we should make up a design for. Weston brought this, and I thought about that before because I've been looking at people that do the 4-season like winter camping, and they bring the ovens, the stoves, and then they have the little pipe going out. And I was like, oh, it'd be cool to do. And I see Weston's talking about. I was like, well, that's getting pretty close to what you'd need for some hammock winter camping, Like if you want to get really cozy, because you had a floor in there too. Yeah. So maybe you got to make a one out of the material you use, like a big heavy duty. Come out there and show that. 'Cause people just love to just see also just unique spins on things.
Sure. Weston's always talking about stuff and thinking about stuff too.
Yeah.
He's done. I've seen him do several different designs on some prototype ideas he's had in the shop over the years.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've gotten too involved in them, but
Does he like to come to your shop to work on some of his, mock-ups and?
yeah,
things
he's
that
taken
working on?
advantage of the space over the
Yeah.
years for sure. Photo stuff,
Oh.
and just have space and extra material. We've got extra material that he can kind of mess around with a little bit.
For people that don't know, we're talking about Weston, Mr. Mox. Some people just call him Mr. Mox. But Weston owns Mr. Mox hammocks, which is kind of like Eno hammocks. Not necessarily for like hammock campers. It's kind of different lay. But he's in Grass Lake as well. Good kid. Really good kid.
Well, he's built up quite a company too. He's been around. He's been doing that for a while now.
Yeah. He sells the tarps, the hammocks. He got the bunk bed hammock. Mr. Mox bunk bed.
Yeah.
Two-story, pretty cool.
Well, yeah, one of those. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure he gets a lot of sales just from people who, like he says, college kids that want to hang their hammocks on campus. And
yeah, and I know he got into the Amazon things a couple of years ago. He got into really the whole Amazon thing and the algorithms or whatever they got to do on there.
He's a dork too. Like I was talking to him about crypto and different things.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's into a lot of that stuff. So he's a thinker. He's always turning max RPMs.
Yeah, he gets down to the details. Sure. He's been a big help with developing. Like he's the main sewer for the yurt company as well.
Yeah.
And he's been a big part of like if we need something's not quite right. We've had that over the years where just one of our sizes, the angle's off a little bit. He loves getting into the numbers and he loves dialing into getting nerdy with it. Yeah, and he likes to solve problems. So yeah, Weston's great. He's always got a great attitude. I love Weston. He's the best. Yeah.
Yeah, I hung out with him a good amount at HangCon. The first year I went there, last year, I was just camping with Chad there. He's from Jackson, and then all of a sudden I just see him. I'm like, is that Weston over? He just pulled up. I'm halfway across the other side of the country.
Okay, but you knew him already.
Yeah, I already knew him.
Okay, yeah.
Well, actually, I've been following him for a while. I think Shelly. I follow Shelly, and then she's like, "Oh, this is my." I kind of have a tendency to any local businesses I follow them.
Sure.
And so I've been kind of following him for a while.
Yeah.
And, yeah, he's a great kid. I'm hoping to be seeing him in Copenhagen this year. I'm hoping to make that trip.
There you go.
Marla told me I had to bring her, and I was like, how's this going to work? And then I got with some of the other vendors at that place that are going. They're like, I got the same issue with my wife. Maybe we can connect them and have them plan some day trips. Because from Copenhagen, you hop on a train and go to all kinds of little towns and shop and do things. So that way me and her plan a day, and then she can go out for a day with, some of the wives and.
I'm sure you guys could figure it out.
Yeah. But it'd be fun. I like that they all speak English over there, so it's not unlike a Latin American country. I don't have to deal with. It's not going to be so tricky to navigate and do things.
It'll make a big difference for sure.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, when it comes to Spanish, I can shop and barter and stuff, but there's limitations. It's nice to actually. I was hanging out with those guys from Denmark, and it's nice. You can hold a full conversation. There's no barriers for conversation.
No,
which is nice. It's so wild to talk to people from a whole different country, and even what their perception on the news and what's happening and things is so different. Like, and it's not just like here we have the two sides. There it's like different than even those two sides.
Sure.
It's
a good view on things, probably, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't. Yeah, they definitely want to keep Greenland.
Yeah, I can't blame them.
I can't blame them either. So, but Greenland's the. I don't know why this is getting brought up, but Greenland's the Isn't the story that they made Greenland? Iceland's not ice; it's like green,
right?
But they labeled it Iceland so to keep people from coming there or something.
I heard that. I don't know if it's true or not. I have heard that though. It's beautiful. I've seen that much.
Yeah.
All that. I'd like to make the trip to Mongolia one day to check out the real authentic yurt land.
Are you Mongolian?
No, but that's where
it seems like you got a little bit. It seems like you got a little bit of Mongolian.
Maybe I am. I don't know. I've never done one of them
23
genetic
tests.
Yeah. I don't know.
Marla did it. She got us some. We were like, let's do it. I was nervous about it for a long time because they're like, it's a Chinese company and they just keep all your genetics and they're using it to train their CRISPR, and then they're going to have more like data than us program humans, or I don't know. Like, I go down rabbit holes. Sometimes, obviously shit's not true, but
maybe it is.
She got it for me, and I spent all this time spitting in this little tube, and then I was like, "Oh, did you ship that?" She's like, "Oh, I accidentally spit in your tube too." So I was like, she was nervous, like, should we run to? I don't know. It was something she wanted to do and set it all up,
And then never got anywhere with it.
It never got it, but she also didn't pay. I think you pay when they receive it.
In.
But it would be wild to see. I've seen the reports, and I mean, at this point, how they set that up, it's like you don't even have to get the test. Like, if enough family members are near you have done it, like they can track you down. Even like I seen this on a crime show or something, where basically like the guy didn't do a 23andMe, nothing, but enough of his family did, where they were able to check the DNA.
No kidding, huh?
Because they made that public.
Sure.
Like, so now it's a new thing. So now they're opening up old cold cases. Like, now that we have enough,
sure, DNA
like logged, well, you can find this person even if they didn't get the test just by finding their nearby family members.
More
triangulating it, So everybody's aunt's getting these tests. So enough aunts get the test, they can track down any murder if they got DNA.
Sure.
Or they want to find.
Just need one more aunt to get that test. And
the answer, I feel like the aunts and uncles are doing their work with this.
For sure.
Getting all that synchronized. It's funny. So did you go to, I didn't make it this year, but I swear I was like following it, and it just hit me that I didn't go, but that local frog holler festival, did you go to that?
No, so they didn't do one this year.
Oh, they didn't?
No,
okay.
So they actually took the year off.
Okay.
And they're figuring, we've been doing that one for many years now, and I'm good friends with the family that runs it, and a lot of those people, they took the year off to try to restructure a little bit. So
yeah,
they're in the process of restructuring one for this summer. Normally it's in late August.
Okay.
But I know we talked to you guys about going out there and meeting up.
I think I'm following their page, and I've seen some posts, but yeah, I thought I just missed it again.
No, they decided not to do it for many different reasons. It's it's gotten pretty big.
Yeah.
Not huge, but just big enough to try to manage on that land and do it properly. So they just took a year off to let it.
Those things like that can grow really quick and get kind of run away from you, I feel.
Yeah, it can. That's a nice, good family festival. But
yeah.
We do a couple other music festivals in Michigan that have gotten really big, and
yeah,
there's a line.
There's something. I mean, ideally, the music. Even the place we went to in Brooksville, Florida, for HangCon, I guess they do. I was talking with these people that come there all the time for different festivals. So that bluegrass, and there's an EDM one, and there's this, and it's like the music or the topic or the event, whether it's hammock camping. So it's like, or it's bluegrass. Like right away, you're curating this certain group of people, and if you're in that community kind of, or in that same mindset, like you like bluegrass music, you go there, you're going to find a lot of people you like, because it's just kind of the nature of it.
Absolutely. You might not even know you like bluegrass music till you sit out around a fire at 2:00 in the morning, and you got a bunch of barefoot hippies sitting around playing bluegrass music, and it's it's a community, In most communities, if you show a little interest, they welcome you in, and then it's more interesting. Now you're part of it.
And those festivals or events like that are like so great for connecting people and strengthening those communities. And I mean, what happens at HangCon is so cool, seeing these vendors, and they're all sewers, and even the people that which I go down there. I'm not a vendor. I came down there as like the video guy one year, but I've made friends with a lot of them, and it's wild to hear them talk about their business struggles and what they're doing and their sewing techniques. And sometimes I'll just be a fly on a wall and listen to two people dork out about sewing, because it's just like when you see two people that really know what they're talking about, like I'll be a fly on. I don't have to chime in, but it's fun to just hear it. You feel like you're getting like this high level education, even if you're only grasping 30% of what they're saying.
Right. No, that's funny. I know exactly what you mean. And the funny part is I've kind of had to get into sewing, in the last few years. 10 years ago, I wouldn't ever think I would be into sewing, but now I've got all kinds of sewing machines. I meet somebody. I've met people at music festivals and talked for an hour and a half about, we're showing pictures of each other's sewing machines. An hour later, like, I never would have expected that, but
It's amazing how many
get into it.
people I've surrounded myself with lately that are sewers. You know, Chad's a sewer at UGQ. Well, you know, Weston's going to be on the podcast eventually too.
Yeah,
him on it for sure.
For sure.
My neighbor is a sewer, and I kind of told her because I was like calling people, seeing if I could help with websites, and I reached out to a local seamstress that was like, "Oh, I am so." She seems stressed. She's just like, "I'm so busy. What are you calling me for?" She got mad at me, you know, and like. No, I don't want a website. I have enough work. You know, she got like angry. Like the thought of more work made her like really stressed. And then I started looking, and I was like, telling my neighbor, I was like, you need to just, I'll set up a website. So I just got the Great Lakes Yurt Co. You know, and she gets steady work coming in there.
Nice.
You know? But it just seems like you sew a little bit, everything. So many weird. This is weird how many people I have around me right now that are sewers involved in fabric in some way or something.
Yeah, that is funny. I've gotten into the game for sure, but now the conferences are fun. So actually, I just got invited a couple days ago. A company out in Colorado, the Colorado Yurt Company. Secret Creek is the name of their main company. They actually own a TP company, and they do some other things as well. But they've been a long-standing yurt company. The Colorado Yurt Company just invited me out to a yurt summit, a yurt manufacturer summit.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, at some point. He's trying to put one together. They don't have a date or anything, but there's not very many yurt manufacturers in the U.S., so it's just interesting
There's enough people that love yurts, that live in yurts. It'd probably be a pretty big event.
Well, no, he's just putting it together for owners to, just for manufacturers to, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure. It's the first, they haven't done one before.
Yeah.
So he's looking at just doing a small event for all the owners and manufacturers to
share the new things they're working on, their products.
I can only assume, yeah. But that's interesting because I've always, there is these tiny home conventions, and there is there's the camping ones that we've thought about doing, but I've never seen a full yurt event. I'd go if there was one.
Yeah, I would think it would be a success. I also think there's enough overlay between people who like. If you're gonna even think about a yurt, you probably are connected to the outdoors in some way because you're connected enough to be like, just give me a cloth between me and the outside is fine, right. So if you had a location where people could camp and have different classes or different things, and you probably attract a lot of people who live in yurts that are just looking for inspiration, or looking to connect with that community. If you make it a not just marketed to the shoppers of yurts or
it makes a lot of sense. Like I said, because most people I think most of the public still doesn't know what a yurt is.
Yeah.
So it makes more sense to get in front of people that don't even know what a yurt is. People that are at a fishing show, like the fishing expo they do over in Novi every year. Have you ever been to that one? The big outdoor expo or something like that, or at one of the local camping expos. Actually, I was gonna do it was like a survival expo or something one year, but I ended up not doing it. Like I said, it's too much work, or it's a lot of work, so it better be worth it. They're expensive to do, and to bring a yurt there and set it up to where it's something, because it's got to be the full deal with the flooring and the...
Like, you can't pack everything you want into a checked bag,
No, right, yeah. And it's a crew to set up, because it'd have to be the full installation and the full setup so people can look at it as if this is what you're getting, not just the scaled down version.
Do you know of a lot of people in Michigan that are doing 4-season, staying in their yurt?
Yeah.
Yeah? And that involves like an additional insulation around like the inside and the roof line too.
I mean, just our standard insulation package.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure people do add people that are living in it do all kinds of modifications to them.
Right.
But if you're just using them for short term, it's one thing.
But your camp, you do that just 3 seasons there.
Yeah, we shut it down in the winter because it's so far back, but they're still insulated. We just don't have heaters in them.
Right.
So we shut them down for the winter.
Okay, so you just keep it open for the times when you don't really need the heat. So like 2 seasons, like.
Yeah, we're basically open from late May till late October.
Yeah.
About half the year.
Great Lakes Yurt Camp.
Yeah, it's on Airbnb.
Yeah. Did you end up adding that video to the Airbnb?
I don't think I did.
Oh, okay.
I have it though. I should look at doing that. I'm not the best with that stuff, but actually we do need to update that whole listing before spring comes. So
I know I did one for my buddy Schoolie too. I mean, he always did good booking it. You know,
Yeah.
I remember when they were talking about doing this, it's like, yeah, people love experiences.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you've seen that. So they go up there and they look and they're like, this is a house, What about a yurt? And it's like something about the novelty of it just draws people in.
Absolutely.
You know, when you make it cool. I mean, that's always been the whole main play. If you're going to get into Airbnb, even if you have a regular house or an apartment, make sure you decorate it and make it an experience. Add some bright colors to this unit.
Have a feature, something.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Especially nowadays, if you get an Airbnb and you don't have a feature, a hot tub, a pool, game room, something cool, then you aren't on top of the Airbnbs, in my opinion. Unless you're, you got the right area. But if you're in a saturated market, which most of them are,
Right.
It's
Having a river, I think, is a pretty good feature.
yeah. Just back there, it is that rustic experience, and it's covered in sand. It's the village that we built, right? When that place was just woods and a river.
Right.
A lot of people wouldn't have been able to see it, but then you build a little village, and you can do that at a lot of places. I've seen people do that out in the back of a cornfield.
Yeah.
Build a little village, make it cute, add things, work on it, make it cuter, make it
nice,
more
warm
functional.
Exterior lights, and lining the path, and
little rocks on the side of the path, or little stick art, or just little details that slowly grow that make it. You add one, you add one another one, you get 3 or 4, and now you got a little community, it feels like.
Yeah.
No, it worked out well out there. I'd like to do more of that. That's been fun.
Yeah.
That's been a lot of fun. That was kind of the idea when we got this latest property, these cabins, that we just kind of stumbled upon. It was just such a good deal. I couldn't turn it down.
That'd be a great location, too, for, like, people that wanted to get together. A group of people, because you got the yurts, but then you have plenty of room for hammock campers or tent campers to have something where, if somebody wanted to get a group together, like, the Hank Con thing, something like that, to have it back there.
We've got lots of property up there, and we're not using most of it. And I actually do have a campground permit with the township.
Oh, so you could just sell spots and just let people go.
I could expand to a full campground if we wanted to up there, but I also don't know how far you want to go.
Yeah.
I don't want to bring too many people back there just to disturb what you have going on. And
you just see spots like that. It's fun to be back there. Like, we were there the whole day with just me and the kids. And actually, it's funny because we had went to bed, so it's probably like, I don't know, 12 or 1 o'clock. And I hear like some laughing. And like, so these other people that got it, which I can only imagine what they were thinking, like, because they were probably out drinking or what somewhere. And I was like, all right, let's go to our Airbnb now. And then I had that 3-mile drive through the.
Oh, yeah.
And they didn't have a big car either, Yeah. I can just imagine that drive back. Like, are you sure we have a place to sleep tonight? We're going to get stuck out here. Like, I couldn't imagine driving back there at 12 a.m.
Even the people with the big trucks, like, we recommend everybody has 4-wheel drive, but even the people that can get back there, it's so far back there. I mean, 4 miles back off a 2-track.
Yeah.
You feel I can get back there in 15, 20 minutes tops.
Right.
But some people will take them 40 minutes, 50 minutes, because they're scared.
I got back there pretty quick, but there was a couple spots that Prius wasn't happy about. I need to get it raised up. I don't know if you've seen people that raise those Priuses up, but
I've always wanted to raise one of a minivan.
Yeah.
The all-wheel drive Sienna with a couple inches lift on it.
Yeah. Isn't that what you have right now? Yeah.
We've got a Sienna.
Yeah.
No lift.
It's coming.
It gets back there all the time. The Sienna's never got stuck. We might have lost a piece of plastic once or twice.
At this point, I have no more plastic under my car. It's not because of that trip either. It's just I think I ripped off some pieces because I put on a little 1-inch receiver on the back of it.
Okay.
And so I had to tear off some pieces there. And once you start ripping off some, they'd all just start falling. So it's just like a year of like rip off a piece, and I hear something dragging, and then I'd drag, wait for a couple of days, and I'd probably yank off that piece, and then another piece is, so slowly I've lost every bit of the plastic under that.
Oh yeah, she falls apart. My mom used to drag us around. We used to do a lot of backpacking, a lot of backwoods, and up in the Upper Peninsula and the backwoods, and she had a Pontiac 6000, and I can tell you the stuff she went through with that thing. You'd have rocks scraping the bottom of it. She's going up an incline like That Pontiac 6000 went everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing what you can put. I mean,
if you can drive, you can get a lot of places.
Yeah.
For sure.
I don't mind cars. There's not a. I mean, a lot of my family have trucks, but it's like if I need a truck, I do Menards. It's right down the street, so I can place my order, run in and grab a truck, pick up my stuff, bring it here, have it there before the hour's up. $17.
Right.
You know, and I'm not paying the gas prices 24. You know,
just the truck price. The trucks are expensive nowadays too.
Yeah, I like to have like a Tacoma, but it's hard to. I like not having a car payment too. You know,
yeah,
that's a big.
Absolutely, Tacomas have gotten expensive too. The last
couple
find
years. A deal.
No, all of them have went. I mean, all trucks are just super expensive.
I think people are catching on the you know, just how trustworthy those Toyota trucks are, those Tacomas, and
I've been driving Toyotas for years. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you have the big one.
I drive a Tundra. For hauling. Used to have to, used to haul big trailer yurts around. Not as much anymore.
Yeah.
But and my wife drives a Toyota. It just they hold their value. I learned a long time ago. They hold their value. They're obviously dependable. That's why they hold their value. That's why they cost a premium, but you can put miles and miles on them and they still are worth money.
We broke 300 on my buddy's Prius. I think he's got to be up to like 350, close to that. On like some old Prius. Yeah. But I got a buddy that used to work a lot at, or he worked at he was a mechanic, and trucks would come in all the time. You know, he's like, oh well, if you look at these forums when someone was asking about trucks, and say it's a Ford, there's certain years, certain models that are good, and then a lot that you want to avoid. If you ask somebody on those forums, what about the Toyota, they'll just say any truck, any year, can't go wrong. You know, and at this point, I think Toyota is made more in the U.S. than Ford is. You know, probably not very popular on a Michigan-based podcast to talk against Ford and Ford Toyota, but like you said, I don't want to go for quality. It's my money. You know, and as much as I want to be loyal, like my Marla, she's got a Ford, and I've had to just look at it and try to fix things, and it just aggravates me how they connect parts so that you can tell that this is one part, but the way they connect it so that they can, because they make all their money, like all manufacturers, they make the majority of their money in service and parts.
Sure.
So, but they really go crazy with it, like the stuff they connect, especially on these like cheap cars. She's got one of those small SUVs that was made to be like a really affordable, really cheap. You know, when you get those, you think you're getting an affordable vehicle. I got a new vehicle for under, $25,000. Like, this is awesome.
Right.
But they get you on that service and
the
way they design the parts and stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
I get it.
I've seen some really shady parts and stuff in that car.
Yeah.
That just like completely turned me off of Ford. But that's also the design of that vehicle, because it's a cheap entry level kind of car.
I've learned that with Ford and Chrysler and all of them, though. Every one of them, I've been through it, and I only buy a Toyota nowadays.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at for a while. We'll see if that changes, but they don't let me down.
They're getting my loyalty with this car. I had a transistor pack go in the hybrid system. So I was driving home, and just like the caution light thing came on, and I was like, oh, it seems kind of laggy. I didn't have power, but I was like, all right, let's make it home. As soon as I stopped the car is automatically turned off. So I got it towed. Started doing research. It looked like it was that. I did the code. It looked like it was something with the, So I started even pricing like replacements for the hybrid system. I can't remember exactly what component it was in the front, but I took it to the thing, and they basically right away said, oh, this is part of a recall. All right, I already mentioned that. But sure enough, it was part of the recall. So, I mean, I picked it up. And not only did I not pay anything, but I picked it up with a full tank of gas.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? So, and it was like a $3,000 repair, and they just honored it because it was part of a recall that happened a long time ago.
Can't beat that.
Replaced it as a $3,000 repair.
And that's any vehicles now. I mean, you're going to have vehicles are still vehicles, right?
Yeah.
You're still going to have your problems, but nice when you can get it on a recall, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it's nice that they had, like, I've never had that happen where something happens and you're like, oh shit, and then $3,000 and then it's covered.
Yeah.
And then it's unlimited warranty. So it's basically as old as it is. If it hasn't been done to that serial number, that car, they'll do it for free.
That's cool.
So it's nice to see that they own up to the problem and solve it. And I was surprised, even like I said, I dropped it out, probably a quarter tank of gas, got a full tank of gas. I'm just like, man, this is like full. It's great first impressions for dealing with their shop and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why, especially small business, you gotta take care of your problems.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody makes mistakes, but you got how you handle them is where it's at.
Yeah.
Ford, they can get away with doing whatever they wanted if they wanted.
Too big to fail.
Yeah, right.
Privatized gains, socialized losses.
Yeah.
Just keep all your money to yourself, and when you lose, have the taxpayers give you some money.
Yeah. Yeah, we've seen that, huh?
Yeah. So with your business, I actually heard about the other day, like how much of a pain it is to actually have full-time employees. Do you like contractors, or you actually do your employees? Because you're like the tax collector if you have employees. You're like,
right. No, I'm contractors.
Contractors, okay.
Yep, we're all like, we still have our off season. We're part-time. And we really get it done with a pretty small crew.
Yeah.
Weston kind of leads up the sewing team. And it's him and one other person that do the sewing.
Do you feel it when he takes trips like down to Florida for that week or two? I know that they were still traveling after they were.
No, this time of year we kind of slow down.
Oh yes,
we're still going. It's actually been busy this year for this time of year. But Weston, I haven't seen him in a month.
Yeah,
it wasn't just the trip. He hasn't been around since before Christmas. I think
the slow season.
It's a slow season, and he does his own thing.
Yeah.
He comes in and puts in a lot. He knows when the jobs need to be done, so he comes in and gets them done and gets them.
Yeah, he seems like he's like kind of the ideal employee. Just easygoing and solve the big problems and take a lot of weight off your plate. And
he handles his section, and he knows his part, and it's even better, like I said, that they're not employees, because it's contractor stuff. Here's your part that he's contracting out. He comes in, handles it whenever he wants,
right,
at his schedule. He knows the deadline,
what the expectations are, and just
and then I handle my part. And we meet in the middle. Every once in a while, we got to get in the lab and figure out some stuff. We just had an order of a different size than we normally do. And I agreed to it because they had already bought some yurts.
Oh, okay.
They already bought some yurts, not from us, but from somebody. It's a long story there, but I decided to make them some custom size yurts. So now we got to spend some time in the shop making
the math equations flying around your head.
Right. Yep, absolutely.
And even adding a couple feet, I'm sure it just completely changes the amount of support you got to have going up, and
it changes everything.
Yeah.
And I've got something to go on, but we got to double check all that, and then we got to make sure that the sewing matches it all.
Yeah. So, how many different sizes do you guys typically offer on the site?
We got 4.
Okay, and people can go on there and like build, like kind of like fill out a form to get a quote, or is it kind of like build it and get a quote right on your system?
You can basically fill out a form and get a price of it.
Okay.
You can get a quote on our system, and then there is an automated email that'll get you a shipping quote.
Okay.
And more information as well. Once I know people are interested, I kind of dive in and get them a shipping quote and send them more information of how we operate, what they're responsible for, and what we provide. And
before they get like their final.
Make sure they know what they're doing.
Decisions made.
Yeah.
It all makes a lot of sense to me, man. I'm glad to hear that went that direction. And I mean, I said it makes a lot of sense. Even though I know last time we talked, it seemed like you enjoyed taking the family with you on those trips. It probably worked out a lot better what you're doing now.
Yeah, it does, and it's still, if we get something that comes up somewhere and we want to go deliver a yurt, we can go drop it off and meet the fine folks that purchased it, and then keep on going to the beautiful and go hang out in the beautiful area that they live.
And they'll tell you all the good spots too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They'll usually open the doors, let you stay right there on the property. But we've done that many times. We've been out to Maine. We've been all over the place. Where, we're not setting up or anything, but we see a good, we see one that's going here. We're like, we'll go visit that.
Yeah.
We'll go visit that area for a few days and load it up in a trailer and drop it off, and then go hang out in the area.
It's good to see things growing and and changing, and I'm looking forward to get back up to your spot. And thanks for coming on the podcast, man. Probably gotta wrap it up out here.
Yeah.
Hear the heater putzing out over there.
Right on. Well,
Good to see you, man.
yeah, thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it. Nice studio. Keep it going, man.
I'll have you back again.
Absolutely.
Come see your
man.
place.
Sounds good.
All right.